even in the outward, you have to practice. They don't get there. You don't get to, like the musician, he was down in Times Square and he asked the policeman, how do I get to, he had his little violin case. He said, how do I get to Carnegie Hall? And he said, practice, practice, practice. Like, that's how you get there. So that's what he's saying. You want to get to God, you have to do the practice. Because just like people are amazed at people that do a lot of practice in dunya things, ovations, that's praise. That's what they do. They give him ovations. Allah is amazed at His servant when he draws near to Him through practice. Wallahi, there's hadiths that say that Allah is ajiba. Ajiba rabbuka. Allah was amazed at what you did last night. Those people the two Ansaris that pretended to eat while their guest was eating. They turned out the lights, pretended to eat while their guest was eating. The next day they saw the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, Allah was amazed at what you did. Because that's practice. And so you get God's ovation. You get the thana of God. He's the one who praises you. And then on Yawm al-Qiyamah, He elevates you in front of His mala, where you get the reward. Just like they have Oscars in dunya for all these worldly things that people do. Allah has these things. This is all metaphor for what's to come. But it's the exact opposite in the akhirah. The high people in dunya are low in the akhirah. And the low people in dunya are high in the other world. Because they were considered nothing in this world. Some saint somewhere, like sitting in his cell, purifying his heart, praying and getting near to his Lord at night. People don't consider them. What a waste of time. Why wasn't he out doing something useful? Now, another thing that I find really fascinating is, Imam al-Ghazzali, who knows Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Yeah, a lot of you studied that, huh? Listen to this, because Maslow, this was considered this great discovery and ridiculous. Right? Like Mark Twain said, the ancients stole all their best ideas from us. Know with absolute certainty that the ulama ar-rasikhin, those firmly rooted in knowledge, they understood these things by this internal state. It's not witnessing with the eyes, it's witnessing with the inner eye. And he said, as-sa'ada wara ilm al-mukashafa. Joy comes from this deep inner knowledge of God. وَعِلْمَ الْمُكَاشَفَةِ وَرَاء عِلْمَ الْمُعَامَلَةِ. And this mukashafa, these unveilings that happen inside in your inner state, they come from practice. And this practice is the suluk of tariq al-akhirah. It's the practice on the path towards the next life, وَقَطَعُ الْعَقَبَاتِ, and overcoming the obstacles. وَسُلُوك طَرِيق مَحْوَ الصِّفَاتِ الْمَذْمُومَةِ وَرَاءِ عِلْمَ الصِّفَاتِ. And taking the path of removing the negative qualities of your nature is behind the knowledge of these attributes. So you have to know the knowledge to get rid of those negative attributes. وَعِلْمْ طَرِيقَ الْمُعَالَجَةِ وَكَيْفِيَّةَ السُّلُوكِ وَذَلِكَ وَرَاء عِلْمْ سَلَامَةَ الْبَدَنِ وَمُسَاعَدَةَ أَسْبَابِ الصَّحَّةِ. And this knowledge that you need to know in order to traverse this path, behind that is a sound body. You have to be in good health. Your needs, your basic needs have to be taken care of. So he goes from what Maslow called self-realization, he would call mukashafa, which is the highest in this hierarchy of needs. Our need to really fulfill our true purpose, to have human flourishment. And this is based on good health. وَسَلَامَةَ الْبَدَنِ بِالِاجْتِمَاعِ وَالتَّظَاهُرِ وَالتَّعَاوُنَ الَّذِي يُتَوَصَّلُ بِهِ إِلَى الْمَلْبَسِ وَالْمَطْعَمِ وَالْمَسْكَنِ. And this is based on having food and drink and security. Food, drink, and a residence. وَهُوَ مَنُوطٌ بِالسُّلْطَانِ وَقَانُونِهِ فِي ضَبْطِ النَّاسِ. And this is based on having security. You have to have security. I mean, look, he's giving you it's even more sophisticated than this modern idea. So he's saying this is based, and this is why when you see all this anarchy in the Muslim world, people cannot flourish spiritually. You can't flourish when it's anarchy outside. In a city like Kunya, you can flourish spiritually if you want to. But in a place where you've got somebody trying to bulldoze your house down, like in Palestine or in Iraq, where you have people chasing people out because they don't agree with them or chopping off heads and things, how can people spiritually come to any self-realization? They can't. It's a disaster. And that's why فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّنْ خَوْفٍ. Worship this Lord, the one who gave you security and nourishment. So He took care of your basic needs. Once that's done, then you have to do the ibadah. If that's not done, how can you do the ibadah? How can you do it with the intent and the purpose and the way that it was meant to be done? And then he said, and if you say, again, he's always preempting his critics, if you say, how dare you make fiqh and medicine equal to the provision and the beast on the Hajj? He said, السعي إلى الله لينال قربه هو القلب دون البدن. That the one going to God, to get the nearness to God, is the heart, not the body. وَلَسْتُ أَعْنِي بِالْقَلْبِ اللَّحْمَ الْمَحْسُوسِ. And I don't mean by the heart this physical lump of flesh, but هو سر من أسرار الله. This is a secret among the secrets of God. لا يدركه الحس. The sensorium can never understand it. لطيفة من لطائفه تارة يعبر عنه بالروح وتارة بالنفس المطمئنة. Sometimes it's a subtle thing from God's subtleties. Sometimes we call it the ruh, the spirit. Sometimes we call it the nafs, the soul, al-mutma'inna, at peace. وَالشَّرْعُ يُعَبُّرُ عَنْهُ بِالْقَلْبِ. And the Sharia talks about it as the heart, because it is the مطية الأولى لذلك السر. This is the vehicle to that secret. بواسطته صار جميع البدن مطية وآلة لتلك اللطيفة. And by its means, the entire body becomes the vehicle and the tool by which we get to this subtle quality, the reality. كشف الغطاء عن ذلك السر من علم المكاشفة. So this is how you get to this. And he says, يسألونك عن الروح قل الروح من أمر ربي. They ask you about the ruh. Say the ruh is from the amr of my Lord. Now listen to what he says. وَكُلُّ الْمَخْلُوقَاتِ مَنْسُوبَةٌ إِلَى اللَّهِ تَعَالَى وَلَكِنَّ نِسْبَتُهُ أَشْرَفُ مِنْ نِسْبَةِ سَائِرِ عَطَاءِ الْبَدَنِ فَلِلَّهِ الْخَلْقُ وَالْأَمْرُ جَمِيعًا وَالْأَمْرُ أَعْلَى مِنَ الْخَلْقِ وهذه الجوهرة النفيسة الحاملة لأمانة الله تعالى المتقدمة بهذه الرتبة على السماوات والأراضين والجبال إذ أبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها هي من عالم الأمر ولا تفهم من هذا تعريضا بقدمه فالقائل بقدم الأرواح مغرور جاهل لا يدري ما يقول فلنقبض عنان البيان عن هذا الفن فهو وراء ما نحن بصدده. It's a beautiful statement. He says all of the creation is attributed to Allah, but its relationship in terms of its honor and distinction is the most dignified and distinct of all of the aspects of the human, the body. فَلِلَّهِ الْخَلْقُ وَالْأَمْرُ جَمِيعًا. Allah has creation and the amr, both of them. But the amr is higher than the creation. So when Allah says the ruh is from the amr of God, what He's saying is this is the highest thing that I have made from my makhluqat. And then He said it is a subtle essence that carries the amana of God, this sacred trust of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's over the heavens and the earth and the mountains. All who refused to carry it, they were overwhelmed by it and feared it. And for that reason, it's from alam al-amr. It's from the world of His affair. And then He says, but do not understand from this that I am in any way insinuating that the ruh is eternal, pre-eternal. In other words, it has qidam. We know it has azal. This is what's called ev-eternal in Western theology. Something that has a beginning but no end. So the soul has a beginning but no end. So he's saying the soul is not like God. God had no beginning, God has no end. هو الأول والآخر. First without beginning, الأول بلا ابتداء والآخر بلا انتهاء. He's the first without beginning and the last without end. The ruh has a beginning, which is that it was created by Allah, by amar, kun fayakun. And then he says, so we'll stop here. فَلْنَقْبِضْ. We're going to take hold of the reins. He said, I'm pulling back here. Inan al-bayan. I'm pulling back on the reins of expression because this is not the point of this book. Like, I'm not going to delve into these things here. وَالْمَقْصُودَ أَنَّ هَذِهِ اللَّطِيفَةِ هِيَ السَّعْيَ إِلَى قُرْبِ الرَّبِّ. The point of this subtle quality of the soul is that it goes towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَكُلُّ عِلْمٍ مَقْصَدُهُ مَصْلَحَةُ الْبَدَنِ. Every knowledge, the benefit of which is bodily, it is from the benefits of this vehicle to God. And you should know, وَلَا يَخْفَى أَنَّ الطِّبَّ كَذَلِكَ. Medicine is from that. قد يحتاج إليه في حفظ الصحة على البدن, because we need medicine sometimes to protect the health of the body. And لو كان الإنسان وحده لا احتاج إليه والفقه يفارقه في أنه لو كان الإنسان وحده ربما كان يستغني عنه ولكنه خلق على وجه لا يمكن أن يعيش وحده. If a human being was alone in creation, maybe he wouldn't need these things like fiqh, because fiqh is really about how to be with other people and how to transact, and maybe he wouldn't. But he said he didn't. Allah created us as a collective being. We're a societal being, and so for this reason, we have to understand that these things are to help us. And then he says something very interesting. He said that no matter how much people become confused, no matter how much their passions overwhelm them, no matter how much the asbab al-shahawat wa tanaza'u wa taqatilu, no matter how much they differ, how much they fight, even when they're on the verge of destruction, and sometimes leading to destruction, he said, وَكَمَا يَحْسُرُ هَلَاكُمْ بِسَبِبِ تَضَادِ الْأَخْلَاطِ مِنْ دَاخِلِ. Sometimes the body is destroyed because of internal problems. It's medicine that helps balance the body. And just like that, it's politics that helps balance the society. فعلم طريق اعتدال الأخلاق طب وعلم طريق اعتدال أحوال الناس في المعاملات والأفعال فقه. So the knowledge that keeps the body balanced, we call it medicine. The knowledge that keeps the society balanced, we call it fiqh, or jurisprudence, or law. وَكُلُّ ذَلِكَ يَحْفَظُ الْبَدَنَ الَّذِي هُوَ مَطِيَّ. And the point of all of this is to protect the body so it can take its journey to God. Health in its body and health in its social body. Because both of these will help the person on their journey to God. You can be healthy in your body, but if your society's insane, you're not going to be able to be on your journey. It's too crazy. So you're depressed, you're looking outside, you look out the door. How can you sit and be present with your Lord when you've got somebody shooting rockets at you? Or F-16s flying over or dropping bombs on you? You can't. It's not possible. And that's why these sciences are so important. We need rightly guided leaders. We need enlightened politicians. Let's see. فالمتجرد لعلم الفقه والطب إذا لم يجاهد نفسه لم يصلح قلبه. But if all you're concerned about is law and medicine and you don't fight yourself, the heart will never, لم يصلح قلبه. He'll never be able to fix his heart. It's like the one who he wants to buy the camel and the alaf of the camel, the fodder, وشراء الراوية and وخرزها, and buy the water carrier and stitch it. إذا لم يسلك بادية الحج والمستغرق عمره في دقائق الكلمات. If he doesn't ever set out on the journey and he spends his life wasting his life in these subtle words or reading all of these books about fiqh, spending his life reading about the journey, he said it's the same. It's a person who never takes the journey has wasted his life. فَتَأَمَّلْ هَذَا أَوَّلًا. So think about this. وَاقْبِلْ النَّصِيحَ مَجَّانًا. Take my advice for free. He said, I'm giving you free advice. مِمَّنْ قَامَ عَلَيْهِ ذَلِكَ غَارِبًا. From somebody who did all this stuff that I'm talking about. Like he's an expert at this. وَلَمْ يَصِلْ إِلَيْهِ إِلَّا بَعْدَ جَهْدٍ جَهِيدٍ. And I only got to I only arrived after great struggle. So he's saying, look, I made the journey and I wrote the map for you. Here's the map. I took the journey to prove to you that it could be done. So here it is. And here's the map. I'm giving it all to you. Majanan. Not asking any money. Here it is. So take it or leave it.